The letter arrived at Ronaldo's foundation office on a Tuesday morning in September, written in careful English by someone whose first language was clearly not Portuguese or Spanish. And when his assistant opened it and began reading the first paragraph, she immediately understood that this was not typical fan mail, but a desperate plea for help from someone facing discrimination that threatened to destroy years of academic work and family sacrifice. And she immediately flagged it for Ronaldo's personal attention, because the story it told was both heartbreaking and infuriating in its revelation of systematic prejudice disguised as academic standards and institutional policies that seemed designed to exclude rather than educate students who didn't fit traditional expectations about who belonged in prestigious university programs. The letter was from Amina Hassan, a 22-year-old engineering student at a top British university whose academic career was being sabotaged by professors and administrators who seemed determined to force her out of the program despite her exceptional grades and obvious technical abilities. And her words revealed the kind of subtle but systematic discrimination that was difficult to prove but impossible to ignore when experienced by someone whose presence challenged institutional assumptions about who deserved access to elite educational opportunities and who would be welcomed as future leaders in fields where diversity was discussed theoretically but resisted practically when it meant actually sharing power and opportunities with people from backgrounds that had traditionally been excluded. Dear Mr. Ronaldo, Amina wrote in the precise language of someone who had learned English as a second language, but spoke it more carefully than many native speakers. I am writing to you because I have heard that you help people who face injustice, and I am facing something that I don't know how to fight alone, something that is destroying my dreams and my family's hopes for my future. And I think you might understand what it feels like to be judged for where you come from, rather than what you accomplish when given the chance to prove yourself through your work, rather than your background, or the assumptions people make about your religion or your worthiness to succeed in places where people like you are not usually welcome. The details that followed painted a picture of discrimination so systematic and deliberate that it seemed designed to break her spirit rather than simply exclude her from the program, starting with professors who consistently graded her work more harshly than identical submissions from white male classmates, continuing with research opportunities that were mysteriously unavailable whenever she applied, despite her superior academic performance, and escalating to outright harassment during her final year when she was accused of academic dishonesty for work that she had completed independently, but that professors claimed was too sophisticated to have been produced by someone with her background, as if her hijab and accent made advanced engineering concepts impossible for her to understand or apply in original research that challenged their expectations about who could excel in technical fields. The breaking point had come when Amina was called before a disciplinary committee to defend herself against charges of plagiarism that were based not on evidence of copying, but on the assumption that someone like her couldn't possibly have developed the innovative solutions that her thesis project demonstrated. And when she requested to present her work in person to prove that she understood every aspect of her research, she was told that the committee's decision was final and that her degree would be withheld pending further investigation, effectively destroying 3 years of work and her family's investment in her education, based on accusations that seemed designed to confirm stereotypes rather than evaluate actual evidence of academic misconduct. They have decided that I don't belong here, Amina explained in her letter, not because of my grades, which are among the highest in my program, not because of my research, which my external examiners praised as exceptional, but because they cannot believe that a Muslim woman from a working-class family could produce work that challenges their assumptions about who has the right to succeed in engineering, and they are using their power to destroy my career before it begins, because my presence threatens their comfortable belief that intelligence and innovation come only from people who look like them and share their backgrounds and religious beliefs. Ronaldo read the letter 3 times, his anger building with each reading as he recognized the familiar pattern of institutional discrimination that used official procedures to mask prejudice. And when he called his legal team to discuss possible interventions, he made it clear that this was not just about helping one student, but about challenging systematic barriers that prevented talented people from achieving their potential simply because their backgrounds didn't match institutional expectations about who deserved access to elite educational opportunities that should be available to anyone with the ability and determination to succeed, regardless of their religion, nationality, or family circumstances. The investigation that Ronaldo's team conducted revealed that Amina's case was not isolated, but part of a broader pattern of discrimination against Muslim and minority students at the university, with similar accusations of academic dishonesty being filed against successful students from non-traditional backgrounds at rates that were statistically impossible to explain without acknowledging that bias was influencing disciplinary decisions. And when they presented this evidence to university administrators, the initial response was denial and defensiveness rather than acknowledgement that systematic problems required systematic solutions that went beyond resolving individual cases to address underlying prejudices that were embedded in institutional culture. The media attention that followed Ronaldo's intervention transformed Amina's individual case into a broader examination of discrimination in higher education, with other students coming forward to share similar experiences of having their academic achievements questioned, their research capabilities doubted, and their presence in prestigious programs treated as evidence of lowered standards rather than successful diversity initiatives. And the pattern that emerged revealed how institutional racism operated through supposedly objective academic standards that were applied selectively to exclude students whose success challenged traditional assumptions about merit and belonging in elite educational environments. The legal proceedings that followed were complex and lengthy, with the university's lawyers arguing that academic freedom gave professors the right to make subjective judgments about student work, while Ronaldo's legal team presented evidence that these judgments were systematically biased against minority students whose academic performances should have protected them from discriminatory treatment, but instead seemed to trigger more intense scrutiny. ASIF success itself was suspicious when achieved by people from backgrounds that weren't traditionally represented in advanced degree programs, and the case eventually became a landmark challenge to discriminatory practices disguised as academic standards. Amina's vindication came not just through legal proceedings, but through independent evaluation of her thesis work by external experts who confirmed that her research was not only original, but represented a significant contribution to her field, with one reviewer noting that the accusations against her seemed designed to discredit work that was actually superior to most thesis projects and should have been celebrated rather than questioned. And when the university was finally forced to acknowledge that their disciplinary action had been based on prejudice rather than evidence, the settlement they offered included not just degree restoration, but policy changes designed to prevent similar discrimination against future students. The scholarship program that emerged from Amina's case provided comprehensive support for minority students in STEM fields, including legal protection against discriminatory treatment, mentorship from industry professionals who understood the challenges faced by underrepresented students, and advocacy services that could intervene when academic institutions used their authority to exclude rather than educate students whose presence challenged traditional hierarchies and assumptions about who deserved access to elite educational opportunities that had historically been reserved for students from privileged backgrounds who never had to prove their worthiness to be in programs where their presence was expected rather than questioned. Amina graduated with highest honors and immediately received job offers from major engineering firms who recognized her exceptional abilities and wanted to recruit someone whose persistence through discrimination had demonstrated not just technical competence, but the kind of character and determination that made her valuable as an employee and potential leader in fields where diversity of perspective of 10 generated innovative solutions to complex problems that homogeneous teams struggled to address, because they lacked the varied backgrounds and experiences that brought fresh approaches to traditional challenges. The impact of Ronaldo's intervention extended far beyond Amina's individual case, inspiring other public figures to investigate and challenge discriminatory practices in educational institutions where their influence could protect students who lacked the resources to fight systematic bias alone, and creating pressure for universities to examine their own disciplinary procedures and grading practices to ensure that academic standards were being applied fairly rather than being used as tools to exclude students whose success threatened institutional comfort with traditional demographics and conventional assumptions about merit and belonging. Years later, when Amina had established her own engineering firm and was mentoring other young women from minority backgrounds who faced similar challenges in technical fields, she would credit Ronaldo not just with saving her academic career, but with teaching her that influence should be used to protect people who cannot protect themselves, that success creates obligations to challenge systems that prevent others from achieving their potential, and that sometimes the most important victories happen not in stadiums but in courtrooms and administrative offices, where individual cases become catalysts for systematic change that opens doors for future generations of students who deserve to be judged by their abilities rather than their backgrounds. The foundation that Ronaldo established to continue this work became a model for celebrity advocacy that went beyond charitable donations to include direct intervention in cases of institutional discrimination, legal support for students and workers facing bias, and systematic efforts to challenge policies and practices that perpetuated inequality under the cover of merit-based selection processes that were actually designed to maintain traditional hierarchies rather than identify and develop talent regardless of where it originated or how it was packaged in terms of race, religion, gender, or economic background, proving that true equality required not just good intentions, but sustained effort to dismantle barriers that prevented exceptional people from achieving their potential simply because they didn't fit conventional expectations about who deserved opportunities to succeed.